speaking of TV,
playoffs. Yes. Indiana, Miami.
I made
Steve
the
Jones.
statement last week because the semifinals were both down from last year. Just so you know, both semifinals were down.
Okay.
The Penn State Notre Dame game outdrew Ole Miss Miami by about a little bit more than like 2.1 million. And Ohio State and Notre Dame outdrew Indiana and Oregon by about 2.5 million. So I said, hey, look, the championship game, because last year it was Ohio State Notre Dame. I said, two major brands, the whole deal. I said, I don't expect the championship game to go beyond that. Dead wrong. And I'm not afraid to say I'm wrong about something.
Yeah.
When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. They had 34.2 million viewers for this game on Monday night. It was a great audience.
Incredible.
It's a 36% increase over last year's game between Notre Dame and Ohio State, which had 22.1 million. So here you are, new blood. Cinderella normally has a shelf life. Well, people love Cinderella this year.
And
I mean, she was the most beautiful TV star you could possibly have out there, and Miami brought with it, obviously a fair amount of fans, but they had a 36% increase
incredible.
in TV.
It is the second most watched CFP title game in cable telecast on record. Ohio State's win over Oregon in January 2015 was number one at 33.9 million.
Right.
Average viewers.
So you had 30.1 million. It peaked at 33.2.
Which is gigantic, by the way.
Most watched non-NFL sports event since Game 7 of the 2016 World Series between the Cubs and Cleveland.
May I give you a gut feeling on this, where my brain goes?
Sure.
Which is that you have the Cinderella in Indiana, and you had the perennial, always a good team in Miami and always a team that people watch. They're a big brand name.
Yeah.
But Indiana was almost like the perfect Cinderella, not just because of the team and the everything, but because they were also in the Big Ten, where you're getting to see them play Penn State. You get to see them play Ohio State. And you get to see them play these teams in Oregon, and all of a sudden, they have almost the name brand recognition of it. Versus in the NCAA tournament, when you get a UMBC, or you get a Florida Gulf Coast, or someone on a Cinderella run, a Loyola Chicago, they don't have the same recognition because you probably didn't see them all season. Whereas Indiana, you saw from September through January. You saw them week in, week out, and you kept hearing about them, and you kept hearing about them, and they're getting better, and they've got this coach who all he says is Google me, and you've got this quarterback who seems like the kindest kid who posts on LinkedIn, and it just kind of was the perfect storm of everything working to where the casuals and the really hardcore college football fans were really intrigued by it.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of NFL fans in there because Mendoza's probably going to be the first overall pick come April something in Pittsburgh. He's probably the first overall pick to the Raiders. So you had NFL fans saying, I want to watch him play in the final because I want to see what he does against a really good defense with two guys, as we said, who are going to be first-round picks.
Sure. And not only that, it ends up being a great game. Now, the first half of the game was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It's a defensive struggle. You're like, okay. It was fine. Second half was a fabulous game. Miami finally found a little bit. Fletcher got the big run, kind of jump-started them. Beck, who's good, not great, hit a couple of plays. Tony's an exciting player.
Oh, my gosh.
But Indiana, Mendoza hit some drives. They hit, they went forward on fourth down. But again, Cignetti let the game play out before he decided to go for it on fourth down. He wasn't going for it on fourth down in the first and second quarter, right? When it was time to kick, he kicked. When it was time to punt, he punted. But then when it came down to making a game decision, he looked at time, score, and situation and said, I need a touchdown here. Even then, Miami still came back down the field and got points because, it's a two-possession game. It's a two-possession game. And suddenly they made it a one-possession game with a great drive, and then you have the game closing out in the waning seconds with an interception.
Yeah. It went down to the end. That is what I think the best part of any game is. When you can get a game that goes down to the end of it, instead of one of these games that kind of feels like it's getting lost in the storm of it all. and you're getting to the end of the game and someone's up big. Like this one went down to the wire. This went down to the end of it.
Right.
And of course, we got to see what happens.
So, I mean, look, the TV ratings reflected that.
Yeah.
I think I think there's a chance, unless there are power outages, because there very well could be. I mean, the NFL could have a smashing day on Sunday, because it turns out the games are nowhere near the storm zones.
No.
One's in Denver and the other one's in Seattle, and you've got all the, and 47% of the population in the country lives in the Eastern time zone. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? The Eastern time zone is going to be getting hit with snow, ice, and so forth. And again, you could have power outages. But say it's kept to a minimum. You could see, because they're just stuck at home watching games.
This could be, I know, the highest viewed event of the weekend was Sunday when the Texans and Patriots played, which averaged just about 38 million viewers. So the NFL's on track to have a big weekend if the East Coast can stay with power.
Thanks for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Catch the latest from me on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube page. Find clips of the show on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching up 7 Mountain Sports.